We flip a switch, the lights come on. We turn on the shower, we've got hot water. But take a look at this. 20% of our electricity comes from nuclear energy in this country, nearly a quarter from natural gas. Almost half of our power still comes from coal, barely double digits from renewables. These renewables are green, and while they're sometimes more expensive, they're almost always better for the environment and your community. Howard Gould is an advisor at Equator Environmental. Howard, you know, gosh, you talk about I want to get a Prius. I think maybe I want to lower my carbon footprint, but then you do 3 loads of laundry every day in your natural gas-fired dryer. And I mean, it's very difficult to get your family off the grid, so to speak. And this whole event in Japan kind of just reminds us that we are in a never-ending quest for energy and lots of different kinds of energy sources.
Well, I mean, the demand for energy is growing and growing rapidly. It's not just here in this country, but it's growing across the world as the rising middle class. And so the idea is that how are we going to meet these new energy demands, and what kind of energy is that going to be? Is it going to be clean energy, or are we going to just revert back to what we know?
Is nuclear a clean energy?
Well, nuclear is a very clean energy until it's not a very clean energy. You know, the emissions that come off of it, I mean, are negligible, but the problem is, what do you do with the spent rods? What do you do with this nuclear waste? And we're finding out that it's a huge problem. But then you've got things like natural gas. Natural gas is not nearly as clean, but it's cleaner than coal.
Right.
So it's kind of, you know, where are we going to end up with this? And then you have things like solar and wind, which are very, very clean, but you have intermittency issues with them. Sometimes the wind blows, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the sun's shining, sometimes it's not. So
those two alone could power the American economy?
No, not possible. But I mean, you could look at potentially getting up to 20–25% off of wind and solar.
So if I'm at home and I want to see what powers my family, or I want to know how green my energy is, what do I do?
Probably the best thing to do is probably go to the EPA website. You can put in your zip code there, and it'll tell you what kind of energy you're using. And then what you should probably do is contact your energy provider and say, most of them now have the way for you to specify, hey, I want to opt in for more clean energy, which is something that people should be doing.
What can people do to reduce their impact, even if they can't switch to greener power in their home? I mean, what can you do?
Well, you can do anything from as simple as changing the light bulbs. You know, I know people have been talking about this for years and years and years, but it actually does make a difference, because you look at an incandescent bulb. The incandescent bulb really hasn't changed in over 100 years.
Right.
But now we're seeing compact fluorescence, which there are some mercury issues with that, but now the new thing is an LED bulb, which an LED bulb is significantly more expensive, but it lasts about 10 times longer. So over the lifetime of it, you're coming out in a cheaper basis.